Hello everyone, welcome back on the Tilted Crown Gourmet. Today I'm going to be bringing you zucchini bread. The amazing part about this, it's super quick and easy to put together, and it's a great way to get zucchini into your kids, especially if they don't like zucchini. Therefore, without further ado, let's get some prep done. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's get cooking. I'm super excited to bring to you zucchini bread. That's right, it's that time of year. And my flatmate's coworker gave him a zucchini. Can you believe this thing is massive? Therefore, I believe that the two ways to be able to utilize it and to definitely not have it go to waste are, one, to create zucchini bread. So in order to do my zucchini bread, what I've done is I've actually taken all the interior portions out, because when they've gotten that large, they're too fibrous to really be able to just grate your zucchini to make your zucchini bread. However, you would normally use about two medium to large zucchinis for this recipe, and you would simply grate the entire thing. With the standard size zucchinis, everything can go into the zucchini bread. The rest of it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually steep it with, or stew it with tomatoes and garlics and spices and herbs, and I think tender up in that type of process as well. To start our zucchini bread, we are going to be measuring. Now, I do have my scale over here, and so we're going to grate up our zucchini and we're going to measure. So remember what I say about when you are doing baking. You definitely want to weigh your ingredients. So with this one, I'm going to be weighing out my zucchini after I grate it. Now the thing with zucchini has a really high water content. So when you grate it and you bake it, it just kind of melts away. And also, you're not going to get a lot of flavor, like zucchini flavor, from the zucchini, because zucchini has a very neutrally flavor, because again, it has a high water content. However, you will get the flavors of our cinnamon that we're going to be adding, as well as our brown sugar and our vanilla. See, one thing that I'm finding with this particular zucchini, the skin is actually really tough on it, so I'm not going to be using most of that either. Oh, it's important that you do not add too much zucchini, that you don't add more than this recipe calls for, because if you do, you're not going to get the proper texture. It's going to be gummy. Now that our zucchini is grated, I'm setting it to the side, and we're going to start on our dry ingredients. We're going to first start with our flour. Now, I have pre-weighed my ingredients, so I've pre-weighed my flour. It's important that when you do your flour, if you don't have a scale and you're using a cup, make sure that you don't scoop it out, that you sprinkle it into the cup, level it off, and then add it. Otherwise, it will be too much flour. That's extremely important to remember. So to our flour, we're going to be adding our salt, our cinnamon. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you could use things like cardamom, you could use ginger or allspice to help amp up the flavor of the zucchini bread. However, if you choose to add one of those spices in addition to the cinnamon, you only want to use 1/4 teaspoon. Next, we want to add in our baking powder and our baking soda. This helps to counteract the wetness of our zucchini. We want to give this a stir just to get everything mixed up and incorporated. Now we're going to set this aside. Now we're going to move on to our wet ingredients. We're going to start with our eggs. Now these are room temperature eggs. We want to go ahead and add them to our bowl. And I got a piece of shell. I'm just going to pop that out. Got another one. This feels a little bit brittle today. Much better. There we go. Next, we're going to add in our brown sugar. Now with the brown sugar, you can use light or dark brown sugar. That's your choice. I tend to like dark brown sugar because it does have more molasses in it, and I like the flavor that it imparts into this dish. Next, we're going to add in our granulated sugar. Then we want to whisk this up, and we want it to be, and you could use an electric mixer, but I don't see there's a reason why, because this only takes a few seconds to mix up. That's what we want. Look at that. Really beautiful. Next, we're going to add in our vegetable oil. Now, you can use any neutral flavored oil. I'm using vegetable. And our vanilla. And give this a stir. Doesn't that look absolutely fantastic? That looks lovely. We are done with our whisk. Now we're going back to our zucchini, and we're going to fold our zucchini into the rest of our wet mixture. Because remember, I said zucchini is really high in water. And we're just gonna fold this in. Now I've brought back my flour, and we are going to fold our wet into our dry. Now when you do this fold, you will have some flour streaks still, and that's okay. What we don't want to do is we don't want to over mix this, but we do want to make sure that we get everything incorporated the best we can. But there will be a few flour streaks, and that's okay. It's important to make sure that we get all the way down to the bottom and over. Down to the bottom and over. So, as you can see, there still are a few flour streaks, and that's okay. Next, I'm going to separate this because I'm going to be making one loaf that has chocolate chips only. I'm going to be doing another loaf pre-chopped, rough chopped, and toasted some walnuts. So you can use raw walnuts. However, if you want a more depth of flavor, more nuttiness, and just kind of you just have a little bit of extra punch, toast them. So I've toasted these rough chopped walnuts that I did. I will also be adding chocolate chips to that one as well. So that would be a walnut chocolate chip zucchini bread, and then I'm going to do one loaf that is simply a chocolate chip zucchini bread. So hold on, I'm going to do some measurements and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So for our chocolate chip ones, we're going to add in our chocolate chips, and we're going to fold those in. We have our 8x4 inch pan. We're going to, even though they're non-stick, we're going to add in some baking spray just to be sure. I'm going to step over the sink to do this. And while we're at it, we may as well do the second one. We're going to pour in our chocolate chip zucchini bread. So while I was away, I measured the weight of my batter so that I could be sure that I had equal portions for each loaf. And I'm sure that Leo will probably put a little bit of that footage in showing you how I measured it out. But it was about 749 grams, as I recall, for each loaf. Now for this loaf, my flatmate is going to take to work. Therefore, it has the toasted walnuts, roughly chopped, don't forget, roughly chopped toasted walnuts. And like I said before, you can do raw if you so choose, but they do have a more nutty flavor if they're toasted. And I will also be adding in chocolate chips. We will give this a mix as well, or I should say a fold. We will fold this in as well. And then we will place this into its loaf pan. Smells really good. We're done with these bowls. Now at this point, technically you're done. However, you can top these with sugar. You can use caster sugar, granulated sugar. However, I'm gonna actually use more dark brown sugar. And it's gonna be just a sprinkling. So I'm just gonna grab my bag, I washed my hands, I dried my hands, and I'm just going to lightly sprinkle some more brown sugar right across the top. Now this step is completely optional. It's definitely not something that you need to do, but to me it just adds just a little bit extra to the dish. And I'm gonna do it on both. And now we're gonna place these into the oven for about 55 to 60 minutes or until the center is set. So our time has elapsed for our zucchini bread. So we're gonna go to our oven and we're gonna take it out and give it a check. That looks fabulous. Now we're gonna bring our zucchini bread over. Now I place it on my wire rack in the pan. However, what we're gonna basically want is we want it to sit for 5 to 10 minutes in the wire rack, or excuse me, in the baking pan before we turn it out and let it completely cool on the wire rack. Now, it's super important. Do not cut into your zucchini bread prior to it being completely cool. The reason why is you want to keep all that steam inside of your bread. It helps keep everything moist. If you cut it while it's still hot, you're going to be releasing all that steam and you could end up with a dry loaf. Our 10 minutes has passed. I did let these sit for 10 minutes and not 5. So we're going to pop them out of the baking pans and we're going to place them directly onto our wire racks. And then we're going to allow them to cool completely. Remember, do not cut them while they're still warm. So, number 1, pops out very easily and on to our cooling rack. And then we have loaf number 2, pops out nice and easy and onto our rack. Again, I did utilize baking spray. These are non-stick pans. I don't believe that they would have stuck anyway. It was just extra insurance that I utilized to make sure that my loaves didn't stick in my pans. And we are back. Our zucchini bread has had an opportunity to cool and I have plattered them. And we're gonna go ahead and give this a cut and a taste. Oh, that looks wonderful. Give you an opportunity to look at that. That is beautiful. Now this is the chocolate chip one because, like I said, you know, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know I'm not a fan of nuts in my food. Therefore, this one I only made with chocolate chips. The other one I made with the roasted walnuts and chocolate chips. So let's give this a try. Oh my goodness, it's so soft. Absolutely fantastic. This would be wonderful with a cup of coffee. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Tilted Crown Gourmet, and until next week, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I release new content every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, no matter where in the world I may happen to be. Remember, your kitchen is your passport to the world, allowing you to explore diverse cultures and cuisines right from home as you explore new flavors and techniques. And as always, bon appetit.